What up, everybody? What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. I am your host, AC the Engineer, and we are at episode 39. Let's give it a round of applause. I hope everybody's having a good start of their weekend. Mine is good, of course. But, hey, time to relax, and if you got to work, hey, get to work. But we got a lot of things to cover today. We got the Maryland teen body who was found. You got 60 children who was rescued in the Bay Area. And just a wide variety of things with like HOA trying to foreclose on a 77-year-old. And some downtown apartments that we're going to be looking at that is, they say, are unlivable. Unlivable, I don't know what that means. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Welcome back to another show. Always good to have you. Always good to have you. But you know how I like to do it. I like to jump right into it. And let's get right into the show. The first thing we're going to be looking at today, the first thing is the Maryland teen body that was found. Tragic situation. Hope you're enjoying work. But yeah, like I said, tragic situation. So let's jump over into that so we can get the full details of what's happening. So let's jump into it.
Police have confirmed the body found along Route 50 on Sunday afternoon in Anne Arundel County is in fact that of missing teen Dakara Thompson. Now, earlier this morning, police announced that she had been killed and a man has already been arrested and charged in connection with her murder. That suspect, according to Prince George's County Police, is in the United States illegally and is now subject to an ICE detainer. News 4's Darcy Spencer joins us live in Bowie, where that man was taken into custody. It is the news her parents, her community were hoping they would not receive. Darcy Spencer, bring us up to speed with what we know.
And that's right, Erica. You know, and this murder really shaken this Bowie community. Many just finding out this news today, this morning, this afternoon from us as we ask people questions in the community. That killing allegedly happened in the house right here behind me. I spoke to a woman who lives here. She asked to not be shown on camera, but she says she had no idea a crime had happened inside the house and that this suspect is her cousin. It was inside this house on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, inside this bedroom that investigators say 19-year-old Dakara Thompson was murdered. Neighbors are stunned that the missing teen investigation led to Bowie so tragically.
I was hoping for the best, but it was just, you know, deeply saddened to hear that it turned out this way, unfortunately.
The 19-year-old had been missing since August 22nd after she told her dad she was going to get gas and never returned. Wow. Surveillance video showed her walking away from her car about 1:30 a.m. in Langley Park the next day. Police say they found additional video showing her about 3 that morning on University Boulevard in Hyattsville.
For reasons still under investigation, it appears that Dakara willfully entered a vehicle being driven by Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez, 35-year-old male out of Bowie, Maryland.
Police were able to track the SUV to the suspect's home and on Thursday took him into custody. Investigators determined through a search warrant Dakara was killed here, and police say Hernandez Mendez allegedly dumped her body in the grassy area off the highway. He's facing first and second degree murder charges.
It is tough that we're at this point where the search is over and justice begins.
Police say they're still investigating how the two came into contact with one another. They're not saying how she was killed. Back in the neighborhood, several residents told News 4 they didn't recognize the suspect from his photo. They say a family lives in the home and they're quiet.
It's very troubling because, I mean, they've been over there for a couple of years, but just knowing that we have this magnitude, just hearing, this is a nice family community.
Several neighbors saw the police activity Thursday morning but had no idea it was connected to the Dakara Thompson case. Many were shaken up by the news that she was allegedly killed in a home right on their street.
It was really shocking to see like the police from like 6:30 in the morning in front of the house blocking the street, and to hear about what happened to that poor girl. I'm really sorry for the family, and I really keep them in my prayers.
Now, earlier today at a news conference, the chief said that there are no additional suspects, but this is an ongoing investigation. The suspect right now being held without bond. He's set to appear in court Monday afternoon. Back.
Absolutely crazy. Now, they did say something that piqued my interest. They said that there was no sign that she was forcibly dragged into the car and that she willingly got into the car. So, sounds like they knew each other. At least that is what it sounds like to me. God, it's tragic. You never know what can happen, y'all. You never know what can happen. So you always got to be careful. Always got to be careful. Let's go over into this next video to see if they give us any more information onto it. But at the end of the day, we just got to pray for the family. Pray for the family. Pray that this man spends the rest of his life in jail. Y'all see that scar on his face? Absolutely crazy. Let's get into
Tonight, WJZ investigates uncovering new information about the murder of a 19-year-old whose body was dumped over a bridge near Annapolis. A suspect we know in custody tonight, and authorities saying he's in the country illegally. Investigator Mike Halgren live in Anne Arundel County with what charging documents reveal about this man and the case. Mike, good evening.
Good evening, Rick. 7 pages of detailed charging documents. This suspect was from Guatemala. According to court records, he worked for a Baltimore-based landscaping company. Police used surveillance video and cell phone tracking to build their case. This suspect is now being held without bail. And a warning, some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing.
This is a good young woman who wanted to do good for her community.
Have you seen Dakara?
A heartbreaking end to the search for 19-year-old Dakara Thompson. Her family desperately looked for answers for weeks.
I want my baby back. I just simply want my daughter back.
Police found Thompson's body on Route 50 near Interstate 97 in the Annapolis area. According to charging documents WJZ Investigates obtained, the suspect, 35-year-old Hugo Hernandez Mendez, threw her body off a highway bridge into the South River. She had skull and facial fractures. Her family identified her through tattoos.
At this time, there are no additional suspects. However, this investigation is ongoing.
Thompson, who lived with her dad, disappeared after going out to get gas. She sent him this text.
I should be back soon. I love you too. Good night.
The 19-year-old is seen on surveillance video leaving her SUV behind in Hyattsville. According to charging documents, she approached the suspect's GMC Yukon and after approximately a minute of conversing, walks over to the passenger side of the vehicle and gets into the passenger front seat. Police say they drove to his house in Bowie and believe he killed her in his bedroom. A roommate reports hearing the defendant having sex and then a grunting noise which made it believe that someone wasn't enjoying the sex. After executing a search warrant, police found what they believed to be the victim's blood and missing fingernail, along with hair and other evidence in the bedroom and in the trash, along with multiple pairs of women's underwear and lingerie. Hernandez Mendez agreed to an interview, telling detectives he went to a nightclub to meet his ex-girlfriend, but never did. When detectives questioned further, the defendant denied any involvement. Prince George's officials say Hernandez Mendez was in the United States illegally. U.S. Park Police arrested him for a DUI 5 months ago, but let him go.
The U.S. Government has made status of individuals relevant. This was someone who was in their custody, and they made the decision to release him. So I think the questions should be asked of the Justice Department.
And ICE has now issued a detainer for the suspect. Now, the victim worked for a nonprofit that was one of Governor Moore's initiatives, and the governor tonight is calling her a bright light, and he is promising accountability for anyone responsible for her murder. We're live in your corner in Anne Arundel County. Mike Halgren, WJZ.
Absolutely crazy.
U.S. Park.
So, yeah, that's a good question. Great question. Why was she with him in the first place? They said, we're just going to recap of what they said. They said that she left her vehicle willingly, went over, talked to him for a little while, and then for some reason got in the car. And then it sounds like they ended up having sex. Something happened. There's a lot of questions. A lot of questions. No shade on her or anything like that. Why was she with him? She's a pretty young girl. I don't understand why she was with this man. We got to bring it up. We got to mention it. Could it have been some kind of, I don't want to, some kind of prostitution type of thing? I don't know. That is just a question that comes to my mind hearing this. But for all we know, this could have been her man. We don't know. And she just told her dad she was going for gas just to go meet him. But so many questions, y'all. So many questions. Wow. Oh my God. It's a tragic situation. You got to be careful, you ladies. You got to be careful of who you converse with, who you get in the car with. And the question, could it have been prevented? Because that's a lot of people saying it could have been prevented because he was an illegal migrant. He was already arrested before for DUI, but they just let him go. Tragic situation, y'all. Tragic situation. But we will keep up with this case to see what charges he actually gets. If they've actually charged him, I know he's been arrested. We'll see actual charges he gets and everything. But absolutely crazy. How much time should he get? I mean, nothing short of life. Nothing short of life is life is the minimum. The minimum for me. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But we had to look at that. We had to bring that to the front so we can talk about it and discuss what our thoughts are. Now, tell me if you disagree with anything I said. Tell me how much time you think you should get. But there are some demons in this world, y'all. There are some demons. But there are still questions of why she met with him in the first place. Yeah, tell me if you have any thoughts of why you think she would have met with him. Think it was some kind of prostitution thing? You think that was her man? It's a crazy world we live in, y'all. It's a crazy world. But let's pivot over into, something weird popped up on my algorithm for YouTube was that 100+ cremated human remains were found in the desert. Yes, I said that right. 100+ cremated human remains were found in the desert, and I knew we had to talk about that. I knew we had to. So let's jump right over into this video and see what all this is talking about.
It is a story our 8 News Now investigators broke that's now garnering national attention. Who dumped the 100 piles of cremated remains in the desert? As we first told you, officials confirmed the remains are human. Tonight, 8 News Now investigator David Charnes is on the ground outside of Searchlight, digging for answers.
We are outside the town of Searchlight, about an hour from the Las Vegas Valley, and surrounding me are about 100 piles of cremated remains. Federal officials who oversee this land tell me that they are in fact human, but who they belong to remains a mystery. The only thing that we can find connecting them to a human being are zip ties and remnants of an urn. More than 100 piles of cremated remains dot the Nevada desert, just a few miles from Searchlight, a town itself home to just a few hundred. You can see it best from the air, each dot representing a human being who someone left here. Mounds and mounds of remains abandoned right off a dirt road, where a person came across them several weeks ago and notified authorities. Since then, the Bureau of Land Management working to figure out just who's responsible.
Pause it for a second. You know I don't like to pause it too much, but my first thought first thought is the funeral home. That is my first thought. They are disrespecting the dead, of course. This couldn't have been a single person. Or of course it couldn't have been a single person. 100 plus cremated the only place you can get that many human remains cremated is a funeral home. So maybe it's horrible to say, but they trying to get rid of them, or they weren't. I don't know what they was trying to do, but definitely didn't want to hold on to them. So it sounds like they just dumped them in the desert. They did not care. There's some sick people in this world. Let's keep going and just back it up a tad bit.
The Bureau of Land Management working to figure out just who's responsible.
Our loved ones are so connected to us, and paying tribute is really the final opportunity we have to memorialize a life.
Kurt Soph is a funeral director in Utah. We interviewed him recently for a different investigation involving a shuttered funeral home. While spreading ashes on federal land is not a crime, failing to dignify the dead is. Nevada law requires funeral operators protect the dignity of all remains.
What we truly strive to do is care for the living while we get the dead to where they need to go.
Dozens, though, ending here, enduring the rain and the sun, in a possible attempt to never be found. I did check with the Clark County coroner, who obviously oversees the county. They say because this is federal land, they have nothing to do with this case. However, the Bureau of Land Management does want to hear from anybody who may know who these belong to. Outside of Searchlight, I'm David Charnes, 8 News Now.
There is no evidence that the discovery of the 100 or so piled of cremated remains is connected to that recently closed funeral home. Representatives with the BLM declined our interview request, citing the active investigation. We have a link to report a tip inside the article on the story over on our website.
Absolutely.
Link to the pile.
Crazy, y'all. But yeah. Funeral home, a bad funeral home. It sounds like that to me. Only place you can get that many different remains. Just sick. You're absolutely right. This is just sick. I don't know why people would do this. But what's the driving factor for most people like this? Money. It's got to be some kind of money. Getting rid of some storage. They're trying to save money. Golly, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's a good question. Why would they do this to the dead people? I have no idea. People don't care. People do not care. I've heard a story of a funeral home. I don't know where this was, but it was talking about how that instead of just cremating one person, they would cremate multiple. And then they just take a portion of it, scoop it up, and put it in an urn. Not differentiating anything like that. And they would give it to the family. For what reason? Why? To save money. To save money. Because at the end of the day, we want to believe that the funeral homes have our best interest in heart, but they are a business at the end of the day. And some businesses are horrible, have horrible people who would do whatever they can think of to save some money. That's the main thing I'm thinking. I'm thinking is just they wanted to save some money. Absolutely crazy. But I had to bring that up. That popped up on my algorithm for YouTube. So we had to talk about it and just give my thoughts on it. What do you think, y'all? Why do you think the reason they dumped all these people? Do you think they ever find the person or the funeral home that did this? And I don't know if it was just the whole funeral home, but there's no way you can dump that many remains and then the whole funeral home not know about it. So then here's the question: what kind of time would they get? The only crime this is probably desecrating human remains, or what is it? Improper disposal of human remains, maybe, or desecrating the dead. It's not going to be a long time. I can tell you that right now. It's not. Well, maybe 100 counts. Maybe you can get that 100 counts. I still don't think it's going to be a long time. But It's a crazy world we live in, y'all. It's a crazy world. Like I always say, tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you're thinking. How much time do you think they'll get? And do you disagree with anything I said? Do you think it wasn't a funeral home? It was just some crazy person. It's a crazy world. We got to keep living it, though. Got to keep living it. Wow. But yeah, we got to pivot. We got to pivot over into. So it looks like 171 cartel members were arrested in New England. Let's say this is one of the largest drug busts. So let's get over into that and see what it's talking about. See what all they got. We got 2 videos to watch of this. So let's jump right into it.
The cartels are all suppressing methamphetamine tablets, and these look exactly like an Adderall pill.
Fake pills, fentanyl sticks, methamphetamine.
Crystals, these are from Mexico.
These are just some of the 500 pounds of drugs seized in a federal crackdown on the Sinaloa cartel in New England.
It led to 171 cartel member arrests. These are high-level arrests, not low-level retail distribution.
The special agent in charge of the DEA's New England division shows us the cartel even boldly put its name on some of the drugs.
They don't care. They just want to make money. They'll advertise it as Sinaloa.
The DEA says the cartel is responsible for most of the drugs in New England.
When they come in these fentanyl sticks, we know they're from Lawrence, Mass.
Last week, a crackdown in New Hampshire netted dozens of arrests and $100,000. The DEA says all of this has put a major dent in the cartel's operations.
Is Massachusetts safer today than it was just a few days ago?
Yes, Massachusetts is safer today as a result of this effort.
In a troubling trend, the cartel is advertising fake pills on social media and even taking payments through apps.
Uber, right? Lyft, could be FedEx, could be U.S. Mail. One pill directly to your front door, all done, a couple taps on your phone.
Those fake pills could have deadly consequences.
Do not take a pill unless it's prescribed to you by your doctor.
Because you don't know what it is.
You don't know what it is, and they look exactly like a legitimate pharmaceutical grade pill.
This was part of a wider crackdown. The DEA says it netted the highest arrests here in New England. We're live in Lawrence. Sharman Siketti, WCVB News Center 5.
Absolutely crazy. Now, is it going to stop them with all this arrest? No. It's going to take a lot more than that just to stop a cartel. Come on now. We gotta be honest about it. I don't understand why people want to take some fake pills for the one reason you don't know what's in the pills. But some people have addictions and some people are stupid. And it's be careful, y'all. Be careful. Just, oh my God, absolutely crazy. Let's get over into this next video.
Federal Drug Enforcement Administration says a week-long cartel crackdown led to nearly 200 arrests just in New England. The DEA says they were all members of the Sinaloa cartel, the largest drug cartel in the world. 25 investigators went one-on-one with the DEA special agent in charge about their recent operation. He says the vast Sinaloa network has deep roots in New England.
They're our public enemy number one.
Jared Forget, the special agent in charge of DEA's New England Field Division, says last week the DEA set out to arrest as many members of the Mexico-based Sinaloa cartel as possible. New England saw the highest number of regional arrests at 171, with 49 in Massachusetts, 33 in New Hampshire. Connecticut saw the most at 64.
Do you think people would be surprised to learn how many members of that cartel are operating probably in plain sight in their communities?
Sure. So Sinaloa cartel in every single state across America, more than 40 countries around the world, and obviously they're in every state throughout New England.
What's their number one product they push? Is it the pills?
So we see fentanyl powder and we see counterfeit pills that are made to look like legitimate pills, notably M30s.
M30 pills are counterfeit oxycodone. But Forget says they're also increasingly seeing counterfeit stimulant pills made to look like Adderall. Forget showed us some of the more than 22,000 pills and other drugs seized during the operation, like signature purple fentanyl, and some drug packaging even displaying the Sinaloa cartel stamp.
I'm a DEA agent. I cannot tell the difference between a fake one and a real one. So we need to remind parents, schools, caregivers, everybody in the community, have those conversations with each other, Have them with your kids.
Forget says the cartel targets unsuspecting young people online through common social media apps. Many have no idea they're buying potentially deadly counterfeit pills.
171 arrests throughout New England. Does that make a dent?
We're the DEA. We're not going after low-level retail drug traffickers. We are going after drug trafficking organizations, the networks.
How do you disrupt that, something that is so large, so vast, and seemingly so powerful?
Right. It's an ongoing battle, one that we can't afford to give up, right? It's the Sinaloa cartel is a threat to public safety, our public health, and our national security as a country.
This year, the Centers for Disease Control reported while drug overdose deaths are declining, overdose is the leading cause of death for young people ages 18 to 45. For 25 Investigates, I'm Carrie Kavanaugh.
Absolutely.
Young people ages 18 to 40.
And they said ages 18 to 45. 45 is not a young person, but sounds like we gotta teach our kids better. There's no need for you to be buying pills from a stranger online. Come on now, we gotta use our common sense now. And they offering it a cheaper price. Come on now, absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. Oh yeah, I remember you worked at the hospital. ODs is, oh my God, it's absolutely crazy, y'all. There are too many overdoses. They say it's down, but it's still too many. Young people, they're getting hooked on drugs. Then they'll do anything they can to find them, buying it from anybody who offering to sell it, and you don't know if it's actually real. It's a truly tragic situation. Truly tragic situation. At the end of the day, teach our kids better. Go get them to seek some help if they need it. Tell them not to buy strange pills from strangers. Only take pills that's recommended by the doctor. It's wow. But they did get 171 cartel members off the street. Is it going to make a dent? Probably not a big one, but we got to keep fighting. Like he said, we can't afford to lose this fight. We cannot afford it. And who's ever selling it, who's ever caught selling it, who's ever caught producing it, needs to be held to the most stringent laws. Need to be in jail for the majority of their lifetime. And if they kill somebody with it, all their lifetime. I can't stand fentanyl dealers. Truly can't. Mixing in with other stuff, not telling people what they're taking. There are some sick human beings in this world, y'all. There's some very sick human beings in this world. You got to be careful. We have to be careful. Wow. Yeah, just be careful, y'all. Please. Please teach your kids better. Let's make it through. We got to make it through. And then support our police and our DEA agents who are hunting down these horrible criminals. Horrible criminals. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Wow. But let's pivot over into this next topic. A travel nurse was attacked. I said it. A travel nurse was attacked in the Kent station. So I'm not sure where that is, but let's get right into it and see what information we can learn from this situation. Golly, that's awful. Jesus. Sorry to use God's name in vain if I'm doing it. Let's get into it.
We begin tonight with a man who works as a travel nurse, still recovering after being brutally attacked outside of a restaurant at Kent Station. Keegan Kitejes may have been stalking his ex-girlfriend and attacked Travis Ashburn because he was with her at the restaurant. Fox 13's Jennifer Dowling spoke with her about the attack, and we do want to warn you, some of the details and images could be difficult for some viewers to see.
Lauren Aaron says she and the victim Travis are longtime friends, and she says she believes that her ex may have been using a GPS tracker to find them at the restaurant before launching the attack.
He's always been a great friend, super supportive.
Lauren Aronson says she and Travis Ashburn, who works as a travel nurse, had gone to dinner at Kent Station to catch up and enjoy a summer night out.
We're walking out of Duke's on our way to my car.
That's when the celebration turned into a nightmare.
Me and Travis are walking, then Keegan comes up, runs up behind him, and and hits him. Travis drops,
name's
totally
Keegan?
knocked out, can't even fight back.
She says her ex-boyfriend, Keegan Kaichis, snuck up behind Travis, striking him on the head, causing him to fall to the ground unconscious.
Come on now, you know, we got to back that up a little bit so we can get a good look at him. He looks like he might be unhinged a little bit. I can see it. Wow. Just hitting anyone who's with your ex-girl. Ladies, be careful who you date. Because when they become an ex, they can become unhinged. Hitting anybody you with. I don't even think they was just friends. Nothing in oh my God. Wow. Let's keep going.
Up behind Travis, striking him on the head, causing him to fall to the ground unconscious.
He gets on top of him and just starts beating him and like curb stomps him and then takes off and runs away.
Witnesses told police he'd been knocked out after the first blow, then proceeded to strike an unconscious Ashburn in the face several times. This was a photo of his injuries submitted into evidence. It was so graphic, we had to blur it.
I'm like screaming, somebody help. And
Lauren told police she'd also been physically abused in the past by Keegan, telling police, quote, Keegan had forcefully pressed his hand against her face, causing her lips to swell and her nose to bleed. Then when police were called, he tried to drive away with evidence, taking the bloody bed sheets with him. She also said Keegan would threaten to hurt or kill her dogs by hanging them, hurt her friends, and hurt her family.
it finally took like somebody else getting hurt for me to come forth with everything.
After the assault on Travis, detectives located a tracking device on the floorboard of Lauren's vehicle. Keegan pleaded guilty to violating a protection order on Lauren and the assault on Travis, writing, "I hit and kicked him multiple times while he was on the ground," also admitting he broke multiple bones during the assault. Lauren started a fundraiser for Travis's medical expenses. Travis is getting help from his girlfriend and other friends as he continues to heal. He texted me tonight saying it's already been a long, painful journey so far.
So they weren't even, oh my God. And he violated the protection order. The protection order does not, what I've seen, we talked about it before with the ex-wife, the man who killed his ex-wife. She was about to get a protection order, but if people was really trying to hurt you, they do not care about it. They do not care about it. He had a tracker in her car, in the floorboard, probably under the mat. And you just beat a random man who's with her because you think she's leaving you or she thinks she's moving on. Yeah, nah, keep him in the jail.
It's heartbreaking that this happened to him, you know. It couldn't happen to somebody more nice and caring. And
though Travis is recovering, he's been unable to work due to his injuries. He says he has quite a bit of facial swelling, and it is very painful. We'll put a link to his fundraiser on our website at fox13seattle.com.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. There he is with his girlfriend who's holding him down. Yeah. That's a good point. That is a very good point. She should have made people aware of this dude. Definitely should have. You mean to tell me I'm just hanging out with one of my friends and her ex-boyfriend out of nowhere hits me in the back of the head and knocks me unconscious? All because he thinks we're trying to go on a date or something? We're going on a lunch. We're going on a luncheon. No date. I have a girlfriend. Absolutely crazy, man. Then he kicks him and curb stomps him into the ground. Like, look, this is the dude, y'all. This is the dude who was curb stomped. And go, where is it? Let's go, no. Where is he at? At the very beginning, we'll see. Hold on, let's go. Hold on, let's go back. Look, that doesn't look nothing like him. Oh my God. Some people have problems. We got to admit it. Some people have emotional and mental problems. There's no way he should be out here. There's no way he should be out here with normal people. Hopefully he stays in jail for the longest time. Wow. Man, just trying to go about his day, have some lunch with a friend. Next you know, you end up in the hospital. Yeah, that would have tested the friendship for so. That would have tested the friendship for sure. There's no way. Yeah, he should have known about it. He should have known that you had an unhinged ex. I don't know if he did or not. We don't know that, but wow. Absolutely. Be careful, y'all. Always have your head. I say this every time, y'all. Always have your head on a swivel. You have to always have your head on a swivel. Because you never know what can happen. You truly never know what can happen. God. Yeah, let's make sure we pray for him, pray for his family. Hopefully people donate. Y'all, he has a ghost in me. I don't have no money to send him, but he's got to pay for his medical bills. I'm happy his girlfriend is holding him down, taking care of him. I'm gonna say this again. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. How much? Now here's some questions. How much time you think the Keegan dude should get? It's got to be a long time. He could have killed him. I would give him attempted murder because he curb stomped him. That's attempted murder. As soon as you repeatedly hit somebody who's already knocked out on the ground, that's attempted murder to me. That is attempted murder. So he needs to be in jail for the longest. Matter of fact, he might need to come out when he's old. Oh my God. And if he would have sustained from his injuries, he's in jail for the rest of his life, even after his life. But yeah, that I don't know. Do you think that he should still be friends with the girl? That is a question. Tell me your thoughts. It's a crazy world, y'all. It's a crazy world. But tell me your thoughts and tell me if you disagree with anything I said. That's the main thing. Like I always say, just so we can have a discussion on this. Okay. Yeah, but keep your head on the swivel, y'all. Keep your head on the swivel. Now let's go over to this next topic. Let's see. We're going over into. So we got it. Looks like a deer crashed through the windshield and killed a student while he was driving. So we got 2 videos to watch on that, where we can actually see what the student looks like. Saw this popped up, so wanted to bring it up. And let's get right into it, y'all. Oh, wrong thing. Wrong one. That's the same we just looked at. This one. Let's get right into it, y'all. Let's get right into it.
A freak accident this morning involving a deer crashing through the windshield of a car in Chester County leaves a young person dead. And late tonight, officials from Malvern Prep have confirmed that the victim was a student there. The frightening scene unfolding as drivers seem to be encountering more and more deer on the side of the road these days.
Be careful.
Our Dawn Timoney with more.
It was just after 7 o'clock this morning, Skyfox over Route 322 in West Bradford Township, where state police say a car traveling east hit a deer near Roaming Road. The deer then flying into the windshield of a car coming the other way, killing a juvenile who was a passenger in the front seat.
It's something that crosses my mind every day because it could happen so fast, and it's like, you know, just seeing more and more of them, you just never know. You can never be too careful, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's impossible to prevent.
Anna Kluwicki was out walking her dogs this evening on a trail off Route 322, not too far from where the accident happened. She says the deer are everywhere right now.
At night in particular, I'm always so worried. I'm always scanning.
Jana Tidwell of AAA says deer have been more active in recent weeks, and it's only going to get worse as we approach mating season next month, which runs through December.
They're wandering into the road where there's one, there are typically many, and there isn't a lot of time for motorists to react accordingly.
Tidwell says drivers should be particularly cautious when driving near wooded areas and green spaces, and in the morning around dawn and at night at dusk.
If you are on a back road, even a highway, utilize your high beams during those hours.
She also says AAA does not recommend swerving to avoid hitting a deer.
You moving the car suddenly can confuse the deer and change their movement patterns. You just want to hold onto that steering wheel, let off the gas, and go where the car was intended to go.
Clayton Jelk says it's an unfortunate situation all the way around.
I think it's just the deer don't have a lot of place to go, so they get spooked and run around, and unfortunately they run out into the roads. We try to be conscious that they could step out, and high beams is a big thing, and just being aware is key to keeping you and your family safe.
State police are not yet releasing the identity of the victim. Investigators say the driver who initially hit the deer did not stop. That car believed to be a black Toyota Sienna. Anyone with information about the deadly accident is asked to call state police at Embryville. Dawn Timoney, Fox 29 News.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely. Now, yes, I've definitely hidden a deer before. In a busy street going down my road near my house. Next thing you know, I see the deer waiting there, watching cars go by. And for some reason, he decides to hit the gap in between my car and the one in front of me. Not a big gap. He hit it and I hit the back end of him. Didn't mess up my car too bad, but wow, you got to be careful, y'all. You have to be careful. Let's get over into this next video where they actually show us who the student is. So let's get right over into that.
Chester County community is mourning the loss of a high school student with a promising future. Today we learned that Malvern Prep sophomore Kevin Donahue was killed in that bizarre crash yesterday involving a deer on Route 322. Action News' Walter Perez live near the scene where it happened in West Bradford Township with more on how Kevin Donahue is being remembered today. Walter.
That's right, Brian. We spoke with a few people off camera who knew this young man who were simply too distraught to be interviewed. But they describe him as a wonderful young man with a big heart whose promising life was cut tragically short. He was a sophomore at Malvern Prep with dreams of taking his lacrosse skills to the college level. But tonight, people who knew and loved Kevin Donahue of Downingtown are mourning the unspeakable tragedy that ended his life. A short time after the beloved teenager passed away, Malvern Prep's head of school posted a message reading in part, "He was loved by his friends, classmates, teachers, and coaches. His very presence enriched our school community, and he will be deeply missed." It was early yesterday morning when a vehicle traveling westbound on Route 322 struck a deer. The impact was strong enough to send the animal sailing into the opposite lane. The deer then smashed through the windshield of an oncoming vehicle with Kevin riding in the passenger seat. Chopper 6 was over the scene a short time later. Kevin Donahue was seriously injured and taken to the hospital, where he died a short time later. We spoke with people who live near the Donahue family home who say they can't even imagine what they are going through.
I have 3 children that drive that stretch of 322 going to high school, so I can imagine similar morning, similar situation, and I don't even know what to say.
To lose a life like that, and the way it happened. That is so sad. And my wife and I, we talk about that, and it's sad.
Hold on. We're going to pause it for a second. Y'all heard what he said, right? They said that the deer initially hit one car. The force was so intense that the deer flew over into the other side of the road, where it flew through the windshield and hit Kevin, who was riding in the passenger side, and killed him. Wow. Absolutely crazy. Let's finish up this video.
Now, the driver of the first vehicle involved, believed to be a black Toyota Sienna, did not stop at the scene. Anyone with information about that driver or that vehicle is asked to contact Pennsylvania State Police. In the meantime, Malvern Prep is providing grief counselors and support services for students and faculty all this week.
That's good. That's good. Grief is a hard thing to deal with. So yes, if you're grieving, please go ahead and seek help. But that is a crazy freak accident for Kevin. The black Toyota who did not stop, he has to be charged. Because if something like that happens and you don't stop and you see it run, come on now. Like, maybe he didn't notice. Maybe he didn't notice that another car was hit and he thought it was him, but I highly doubt that. I truly do. You're going to notice if a deer just hits your car, you're going to notice where the deer goes. Maybe I might be mistaken, but that's just what I'm thinking. Yeah. And everybody's talking about it on the news. Yeah. He knows. He knows what he did. And he's going to be charged. What will he be charged with? I don't know. I don't know what that charge would be. Leaving the scene of an accident? I don't know what that charge would be. The only thing I can think of is leaving the scene of an accident. Because if he would have stayed, it wouldn't have been his fault at all. Like, it's the deer. Like, you can't blame that on him that he hit a deer and it goes into another car in a freak accident. The only thing I can think of is leaving the scene of an accident. Now, tell me your thoughts. Do you think what kind of charge do you think he would get, the Toyota that just left? I'm thinking leaving the scene of the accident, but if I'm wrong, tell me. But yeah, for not stopping, he is not a good human being. Come on now. As someone who will feel like I'm a law-abiding citizen, if I hit a deer and the deer flies over and hits another car, I'm stopping immediately. Stopping immediately to see what happened. Checking on the people. If I'm riding with somebody, checking to see if they're okay. Go over, check and see if that, and then we're going to call the police. I'm not going to be worried that something's going to happen. Maybe he was doing something illegal. We don't know. But we know he's going to be in trouble now. They're going to ask him, well, why'd you didn't stop? There's so many questions. Absolutely crazy. Pray for the family. Like always, pray for the student, pray for the family. Please, people, anytime you're dealing with the death of a family member and you can't deal with the pain, please go seek help. That is the main thing. Please go seek help. And just the people who are around him in his circle, go seek help if you need it as well. Tragic. Never know what can happen. It's what I always say. You never know what can happen. There are freak accidents out there that can take a life. So just live your life day by day to the fullest, because you never know what can happen, y'all. You never know what can happen. Wow, wow, wow. Absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy. Now, we got to pivot into something that I saw that we had to talk about, that 60 children was rescued in the Bay Area from human traffickers. That is what they're saying. So we got a video to go into this, to where it's breaking down. They say the investigation has been going on for months, but they actually broken down it and provide us with some details. So let's get right over into it and see what it's talking about.
And tonight we have the results of a story we first brought you on Friday. A 2-week multi-agency operation recovered a record number of children from dangerous situations right here in the Bay Area. 8 on Your Side went undercover with investigators as many of the children were being exploited by human traffickers. News Channel 8's Jeff Patterson is in Tampa with more. Jeff.
Good evening, Stacey. 60 children were rescued in this 2-week operation that spanned Hillsborough, Pinellas, and Pasco counties. 60 children taken out of incredibly dangerous situations that some people have called a living nightmare.
Oh, my God.
It's an operation that took months of planning to identify at-risk children and the people putting them there.
Kids that were in critical danger, many the victims of trafficking, many missing kids.
The U.S. Marshals Service organized the operation with the help of law enforcement agencies on both sides of the bay. 20 agencies, more than 100 people involved in rescuing 60 at-risk children and arresting 8 people. Our cameras were there as children were recovered and arrests made.
The majority were being trafficked. The 8 people that we arrested, it wasn't just a child. Some of them had multiple children working for them. You know, in the old days, we used to call these people pimps. Now we call them human traffickers, but they're criminals.
The 8 people arrested are now charged with crimes ranging from human trafficking to child endangerment and drug possession.
These child were underages. If you look at the average age of the offender, well into their late 30s and 40s, and then the age of the children were from 9 to 17.
But the head of the FDLE in Florida says the operation cannot just stop after 2 weeks.
And this doesn't stop here today. This should continue on and on.
Last week, we showed you an intake facility set up at a daycare facility that offers the children that are taken from this operation, recovered from this operation, it gives them a chance to have food, clothing, medical, and psychological care if they want it. Everyone involved in this operation has told me that the recovery operation is just the start of a long road for these children. Stacey?
And Jeff, 60 children, that sounds like a very, very big number. Any idea how many more who are out there from the Bay Area who are considered at risk?
Well, we're told that those 60 children, that's a record number, the largest number recovered in an operation like this across the United States. And the people with this operation, the U.S. Marshal Service tells me that they believe that they recovered 90% of the children that they are after, but there are still more children that are out there. They're working to identify them and recover them as well. Stacey.
All right, Jeff Patterson reporting in Tampa. Thank you.
Many families have waited to hear for more than a year on today's arrest. News Channel's Nicole Rogers continues our coverage live in Tampa tonight. Nicole, how are some of the victims' families handling this big news?
Josh, just relief. You know, many of these heartbreaking stories have similar storylines. It all starts in tragedy, and then the family gets compensated, and then all that money vanishes. Tonight, some of the families we spoke with say they are relieved and hope that this is just one step closer to what they hope ends in justice. Countless stories with two men at the center of it all. Leo Gavoni, a man accused of taking over $100 million from disabled people and their families, and his longtime accountant, John Whittick. Milt McMinn says his son Chase was shot in the head by a disgruntled customer at a Colorado auto body shop 8 years ago. While Chase miraculously survived, his injuries left him a quadriplegic and unable to speak. Through several lawsuits, Chase was awarded money, and like many others, he entrusted those funds to Gavoni's now bankrupt nonprofit. Though McMinn didn't get to see Gavoni and Whittick in handcuffs today, their arrest was welcome news.
Wow, that's a different story that we're talking about. Wow, y'all. Absolutely crazy. 60 children, y'all. 60 children have been recovered. Luckily. But still a lot of children out there. They said that was, well, not a lot. It might not be a lot, but they said 90% of the children that they were looking for, they found them. But we don't know the true extent of what is going on. Human trafficking, people who mess with kids, little boys, little girls are disgusting individuals. Truly disgusting. And you know what? I've said this before, y'all. I've said this before. People who traffic or abuse little children, life in prison. After they die, leave their ashes in the jail too, because their soul cannot leave. That is awful. Absolutely awful. Wow. Now, they said that they arrested 8 to 9 people, ranging average age of 30, 40 years old, who were using them for work, drug runners, anything. You can't imagine. There are some sick human beings in this world, y'all. Some very sick human beings. I am happy to hear that they have set up resources for the children, both mental health, both just ways to help them heal from this tragedy. Because I can't imagine what's been going through their minds. I can't imagine the trauma that they are experiencing right now. There's so many missing kids out there that cannot be found. So many. We just have to pray for them. We got to pray for them, that the police work hard to find all the missing children, because there's too many around the world. Just not in the Bay Area, just around the world, around the United States, around the world. There are missing children that are being trafficked, hurt by some nasty individuals who do not care, who don't deserve to be called humans. We got to be honest. They don't deserve to be called humans. Yet you are 100% right. It is going to be a long road for them. It's going to be a long road. They're going to have to take a long time to recover, deal with their trauma, because I can't imagine what they're going through right now. Just got to pray for them. And we got to pray for the kids, and we got to pray that every single person who hurt these children, hurt any children, become brought to justice. Are brought to justice and held to the highest level of the criminal system. They do not deserve to be out here with us and us regular people. Absolutely Tragic, y'all. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let me know how much time you think they should get. Pray for people, y'all. Let's pray for the world. Because it's a cold world out here. It's a cold world out here. But let's get over. We got to pivot over into Chicago. We're going to go over into Chicago now. A lot of things been happening in Chicago, like we know. But we got to get over there. And it looks like that 90 cars were found dumped in the Chicago River while they was looking. And they only discovered this while they was looking for 2 missing people that disappeared back in like the 60s. So let's see what all this is talking about and see what this whole video, we got 2 videos to watch on this. Well, let's jump into it.
The search for a missing couple from Arlington Heights leads to the discovery of dozens of cars in the Chicago River.
Our Winnie George is live along the river with more. Winnie.
Good afternoon. Well, chaos divers started their search for the missing couple late August. The goal is to find the wife and husband and their vehicle. But since August 27th, they found 97 cars in the Chicago River. They've been keeping a tally to hand it over to police.
Sometimes it can get a little overwhelming, a little daunting when you're kind of going through, because we want to make sure that every vehicle we come across, we check it as thoroughly as possible. We try to get as much of a description as possible as far as, are the windows up? Is the car upside down? Is the seatbelt engaged? That kind of thing. Get a description so that when we turn it over to law enforcement, they're as prepared as they can be for when their divers enter the water. There's also always the possibility that one of these vehicles could hold remains that somebody doesn't even know is missing yet.
Now, the divers are searching for Edward and Stefania Andrews. The 2 were driving a yellow 1969 Oldsmobile when they went missing on May 15, 1970. According to a Chicago Tribune article, the couple left a cocktail party at a downtown Chicago hotel. It is believed that the husband was sick during the party. There were multiple searches over the years, but none led to any major clues or leads, only the possibility that the couple could be in the Chicago River.
When they left that night, Edward actually kind of crashed into the parking garage door, had to back up and straighten back out. And then from there, it's said that he went south in the northbound lanes, which that would have taken them into the Chicago River.
And the team is actually in the Chicago River as we speak right now. They are expecting to find more cars along the way. I'm live here at the Richard Daley Park Boat Launch. Winnie George, WGN News.
Okay, Winnie, thank you.
Absolutely crazy. Let's go over into this next one.
Well, they came to Chicago looking for 1 car, but found 97. Now that
97.
dive team is checking license plates and VIN numbers to find out if their haul could lead to any answers. This mangled Nissan is just one of nearly 100 cars the chaos divers discovered in the Chicago River.
It's not uncommon for us to find vehicles. Heck, that's what we do.
When they started their search at the Richard J. Daley Boat Launch near 31st and Western last week, they didn't find just 1 or 2 vehicles, but they kept combing the water, ultimately logging dozens.
A lot of these are in piles. We have 3 piles that are ranging anywhere from 12 to 19 cars in one spot.
The independent dive team uses sonar technology to solve missing persons and cold cases. Their goal, to bring closure to families.
We are a little bit more interested in those cars that's kind of the one-off where it's just one vehicle by itself, because that's going to be more indicative of an accident or even self-harm or foul play.
In this case, Lindsay Busick says their focus is on the disappearance of Stefania and Edward Andrews, who vanished on May 15, 1970. The Andrews had just attended a cocktail party at the Sheridan, which at the time was on Michigan Avenue. Missing persons reports say they'd both been drinking, but Edward still tried to drive home to Arlington Heights.
And he had actually crashed into the parking garage door, and then it's believed that he went southbound in the northbound lanes, leaving the hotel that night, which would have put them going into the Chicago River.
Busick says their yellow 1969 Oldsmobile has yet to surface.
So the fact that their vehicle's never been found, they're usually often in the woods or in the water.
Busick and Chaos Divers founder Jacob Grubbs, along with Derek Longos of Derek's Dive Recovery Service, are sharing their findings with police. So far, they've cleared 75 cars, meaning they are not tied to the Andrews cold case. And from what divers can gather, there are no human remains inside.
So dump stolen cars.
Now, the car that was pulled from the river today was actually impeding boat traffic. That's why CPD took it out. Chaos Divers still have a lot more work to do to clear the rest of the vehicles they found. We're told they will be here through at least this Friday. Reporting live downtown, Casey Cronus, Fox 32, Chicago.
Absolutely
rest of the
crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, all this came from them looking for a couple that disappeared in the 1970s. No trace of them. They still haven't found this couple or the car. That's a nice car. We got to be honest. That is a beautiful car. But yeah, it sounds like a lot of those are probably stolen cars. A lot of those are probably stolen cars that people dumped. They couldn't get off. Tragic. They said 97 was the next number. 97 was the most recent number that we heard. That is crazy. This is just a dumping site for people. Trying to get rid of a car, stolen car. And we got to be honest, there might be some possible suicides. Very tragic. Very tragic. It is good that they're still searching for these missing couple from the 1970s. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Tell me your thoughts on that. Do you think the majority of those are just stolen cars or just cars for accidents? I would hope that that's not just accidents, because 97 accidents is crazy. Absolutely wild. But we had to bring that up. I seen that, and we had to talk about it. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts. Do you disagree with anything I said? Remember, y'all, hit that like button, subscribe, the notification bell. We talk about a lot of crazy things. The next thing I want to get into, okay, we're going to go to Greenville, Texas. We're going to go over to Greenville, Texas. And this teacher is accused, a Greenville special education teacher. I didn't put education in there, but special education teacher is accused of abusing her students. Yeah, I said it. Accused of abusing her students. That is one of the teachers that I would never think, never would cross my mind. But just goes to show you, it can be anywhere. There can be horrible people anywhere. You see how she got that smile? Absolutely crazy. Let's get into it.
In Hunt County arrested a teacher's aide, charging her with hurting a special needs boy inside a classroom. LaKenya Harris is charged with injury to a child. Authorities in Greenville, about 50 miles northeast of Dallas, say she repeatedly struck him during a struggle in the classroom. Fox 4's David Santendry obtained arrest paperwork. He is live tonight with the story. David.
Yes, Steve, the school district is telling us that the educator has resigned, and tonight a lot of people are talking about the expression shown in her mugshot.
What did I just say?
Smiling in her mugshot, LaKenya Harris charged with injury to a child.
What did I just say? That's the first thing that we saw was her smiling in that mugshot. And people saying the same thing. Yeah, she looked too happy to be in a mugshot. Yeah, she kind of looked crazy. Let's get into it.
Harris charged with injury to a child. The 53-year-old paraprofessional working inside a special needs classroom at Greenville Middle School. The victim, one of her students.
That's disgusting. That's gross. Gross behavior. Shouldn't be a teacher.
Caitlin Dickerson, whose sister is a student at Greenville Middle, imagines how the victim's family feels.
They're horrified. I mean, that's their baby.
In an arrest warrant affidavit obtained by Fox 4, Greenville ISD police say a parent reached out last week because their nonverbal special education student came home with bruising and scratches without explanation.
Some special education children can't properly communicate that.
The officer asked what happened. The child, using sign language, gestured, "Teacher." Police reviewed surveillance video from inside the classroom, video allegedly showing Harris open-handed slapping the child, cursing at the child, while she forcefully attempted to pick him up by the arms, wrists, and underarms, slapping him and placing her knee in his back.
I don't think there's anything going on in a classroom that shouldn't involve cameras. I mean, a reason that they shouldn't be there, especially for situations like this.
Harris arrested and booked into Hunt County Jail Thursday.
Absolutely. No, I don't like to pause it too much. Absolutely crazy. See, the parent was more civilized than I would have been. Well, I like to think that I'm a very well-minded person, calm individual. But if my son who needs special education, son or daughter needs special education, and I just see these random bruises on him, and he's sign language's teacher, I'm up there the next day. As a matter of fact, I might even, if the school's still in, I'm up there. I'm up there the next day in the morning or as soon as I can. No, it's going to be the next day no matter what, but I'm up there and I might show out. I might show out if no one explains to me what happened. I need some video footage. I need something. They would have had to call the cops on me. I mean, my child? Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
In an email to Fox 4, Greenville ISD refers to Harris as a former SPED paraprofessional aide for 2 years.
She needs help probably, but I think that the Greenville ISD, not only Greenville Middle School, the ISD needs to step up.
A parent to a special needs student who does not want to show her face says it's a difficult job to teach special needs kids, but those who do it must be all in.
If you're not prepared, I would think you should walk away.
Harris's bond is set at $75,000. The school district says it notified CPS and followed all necessary reporting guidelines. Steve, back to you.
All right, David Centenary. David, thanks.
Absolutely crazy, y'all. There are some horrible people in this world. There are some truly horrible people in this world. Well, we got to go back. Let's go back to her mugshot a little bit. Where's her mugshot at? There it is. There it is. Absolutely crazy. Yeah. They said, yes, the job is hard. I can see that. I can see the job being hard as a special education teacher. But that does not give you the right to strike him, slap him, open hand slap him. Hold on, what did they say? They said open hand. Where is it at? Nonverbal scratches on him. Teacher open hand slapping. She forcefully attempted to pick him up by the arms, wrist, and underarms, slapping him and placing her knee in his back. Nah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Let's get over. We got an article to get into to see if there's any more information about this. Because this is a crazy situation, y'all. Absolute crazy situation. Let's get over into this article. All right. Let's get over into this. Zoom in some, see if there's any more information we can. Let's see. So, the brief, a teacher's aide in Greenville has been charged with injuring special needs students. Surveillance video shows her open hand slapping him. $75,000 bond, what we talked about before. Harris is charged with injuring a student. Authorities in Greenville, 50 miles northeast of Dallas, says it repeatedly struck the student during a struggle in the classroom. 53-year-old paraprofessional worker with special needs classroom in a special needs classroom. The victim was one of her students, like we talked about. Just her teacher. Police reviewed surveillance footage from inside the classroom. So they have, okay, that's good. They have surveillance video from inside the classroom. Video alleged showing her open hand slapping the child, cursing at him while she forcibly attempted to pick him up by the arms, wrist, underhand slapping him, placing her knee in his back. She was arrested and booked in the county. Bond of $75,000. Notified CPS and followed reporting guidelines. What they're saying. So Caitlin Dixon. So this is all stuff we heard. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Make sure there's nothing else, anything. No. But Yes, at this point, no, there's no need for her to be a teacher. She's lost the privilege. She lost it. There's no reason for her to come back and be a teacher anymore. No reason at all. There's some horrible people in this world, y'all. Some horrible people. Yes, like I said, yes, the teaching, I can see where it being stressed, but it does not give you the right to put your hand on a child. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I might be in jail. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I might be in jail. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts, y'all. Let me know how much time you think she should get for this. Hopefully no school hires her back. That is the main thing. Hopefully, because at this point she's lost. There's no reason for her to be a teacher anymore. I don't care rehabilitation. I don't care about any of that. She's pleased for forgiveness. Nah, you've lost. You cannot be a teacher anymore. It's over with. Once you cross that line, it's over with. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now, something a little not as horrible to talk about. We got to go over to, it looks like an HOA is seeking to foreclose on a 77-year-old home. So, a 77-year-old home. You know what I'm trying to say. But let's get over into that and see what this is about. I wonder if is it some crazy liens that they had on them? Did they just not pay something? What is happening? You got to be careful with the HOAs you decide to move in. You have to, because there's some HOAs are absolutely horrible. I live in an HOA myself, and it's very small. It's a smaller community, older community. So our HOAs, at least I've never had any problems with them. Let's get over into it.
Now at 7, a 77-year-old Kennesaw man fears losing his home to his HOA after racking up fines for not pressure washing his home and leaving a bucket of water outside.
Atlanta News First investigative reporter Anastasia Olmos explains how fines from your homeowners association can end up costing you everything.
A nice neighborhood.
The scene of the crime is this north-facing side of my house.
It's a scene that haunts George Watson more than 3 years later.
It's anxiety, it's sleeplessness, it's depression.
A slimy wall, a bucket, and a ladder.
I realized, I had been the architect of my own demise by not opening the mail.
The fines and legal fees, he estimates, now exceed $30,000.
It very possibly means that I'll lose the house.
But it's not the local police after Watson. It's his homeowners association.
This was the original newsletter that came the first year we were here.
George moved into the Cedar Lake Townhome subdivision in Kennesaw in 2001.
These were starter homes. I purchased mine out of a divorce. It was all I could afford. Everything I had is tied up in this house. All the equity I've got to show for my life.
He says he's had his share of disagreements with the HOA in the last 20 years, but now he fears he could lose everything.
During COVID, I developed a neurotic response to mail delivery. I literally just don't want to see mail.
George says when he checked the mail in late 2022,
I had a bill saying, you owe the HOA $6,000. Please send us a check. And I sort of, but for what?
He says he had no idea he'd violated any HOA rules, and then saw the other letters from July to September. Warnings and then fines to pressure wash the side of his home and to dump water out of a bucket, stating this breeds mosquitoes, and one in November for a ladder on the side of his house.
You cannot see anything on the side of the house.
Come on, man. Come on. That is crazy. You mean to tell me an HOA gonna send me a letter about a bucket of water in my yard? And then a ladder in my yard? Come on now. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
The fine's $50 a day, equating to more than $1,500 a month with 7% interest for 4 months. George says he borrowed a pressure washer from his neighbor, but didn't get to it until January of 2023. That's when the fines stopped. He says when he tried to negotiate with the board,
there was absolutely no attempt at all to talk to me And then the knock at the door came.
It was July 2024. The HOA filed a judgment to foreclose on the lien they placed on his home to recover the money he owed, now more than $9,000. Georgia law allows an HOA to place a lien on a home for any amount. They can file to foreclose on the home when that amount exceeds $2,000.
I'm retired and living on a fixed income. Social Security, it amounts to about $20,000 a year. How am I going to pay if I lose the suit?
George says he took out an equity loan on his house to fight for it.
A year of anxiety and worry over the mounting legal costs because it's not over. I think it's added about 5 years of age to me.
Atlanta News First Investigates found George is the only homeowner in the Cedar Lake townhomes that the HOA has taken to court since 2008. But we did speak with several homeowners who said they've also had similar disagreements with the HOA. And when we went to ask the HOA president about George's case, she told us,
"You would need to call our property management company or our attorneys."
The management company, Tolly Community Management, told us in part that someone choosing not to read their mail is not an association issue. The covenants for the neighborhood state that the notice shall be sent by U.S. mail. For more insight, we sat down with attorney Randy Williams, who represents homeowners as well as HOAs in Metro Atlanta.
There are some times where you just need to tell your client, don't do that. So what are you going to do? You want to take their house? You know? You probably could, but do you think that's the human thing to do to a 70, 80-year-old person?
Instead,
they care about money. They don't care about being human. I mean, their main thing is about control and money. That's why they kept stacking up bills. That's why they said that you can't work with you on reducing the amount you owe. Now, here's a question: would it have been simpler for him to take the equity out of his house and pay the fines? Maybe. But would it have fixed the problem that the HOA is doing? No, not at all. But it would have at least gotten him out of the possibility of his home foreclosed on. I don't know. That's a question. I don't know. Would I have just gone through and paid it and then fought it later? Or would I have just fought it and then, because it's in the Georgia law that they are allowed to foreclose on your home if it's over $2,000 that you owe. You can fight against it, but them HOA rules, you got to read them. Got to read them. Got to be. There are some awful people who do not care. I won't say all HOAs are like that, but there are some awful ones. There are some very for sure awful ones. Let's keep going.
Recommends HOAs offer payment plans to people living on fixed incomes and points to a much cheaper solution, often found in the HOA bylaws, called self-help powers, letting the HOA board perform repairs or assist directly.
It would have been cheaper to either knock on his door or move the problem items to the back of his house.
I'm between a rock and a hard place, and there's nothing much I can do about it. This is not the way it's supposed to be for homeowners.
Now, the HOA's lawyers with Lizega and Johansson did not respond to us, but several months ago, they asked the court to enforce the foreclosure on the lien. George says he's still waiting for the judge's answer.
Now, Anastasia, all these stories you've done have been really eye-opening, and I'm sure raising a lot of questions for people. A lot of people watching probably wondering, what can homeowners or even HOAs actually do to protect themselves?
Right, a couple things here. So first, if you know that your HOA communicates via written mail, check your mailbox often and try to address any warnings right away. If you're an HOA board member, see if self-help powers are in your bylaws and consider taking a neighborly approach to get things fixed. Lastly, Williams says that attorney's fees have to be considered reasonable in court. So if you do end up with those outrageous HOA legal fees, you may be able to argue them down.
All right, Anastasia, thank you. Now, if you have had
absolutely crazy, y'all. Now, like, tell me if you lived in an HOA. I live in an HOA. My HOA is old. It's nothing crazy. They never caused me problems. Trying to say we just don't have your grass growing crazy. That's pretty much it. And then at the HOA meetings, they always talk about, yeah, we got a few people with fines for the HOA that didn't pay their dues, but they don't send liens out unless it gets something. They will send liens out, but they won't foreclose on it. They will just, if you try to sell your home, you're going to have to pay the lien first. That is the main thing my HOA does. They do not try to foreclose. I don't even know if I don't know. I got to look at the actual law, but I don't have any liens on my home. Absolutely crazy. Have you lived in an HOA? I know some people say they would never. It's a sticky slope sometimes. It's definitely sticky because you don't know how it's going to be until you get into it. You don't know how strict they are. You don't know exactly how much control they try to place over you. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts on it. Do you think he should have been just used the equity in his home just to pay the liens that he had? Or I don't know, man. Or should he just stick with fighting it? That's the only thing he has is his house. And the equity he built in that house. And it's been 20 years, so definitely has more than, what did it say, it was $9,000? I would hope he would have more than $9,000 after 20 years in equity. Take some of the equity, pay that off. And then, hey, so sell the home and leave. If you don't like dealing with it, sell the home and leave. Because I don't know if you can get the HOA to change their laws or change their rules. Because you're always going to be dealing with that. But tell me your thoughts, y'all. Tell me your thoughts. Just got to be careful where you move to. You have to be careful where you move to. Now, speaking of homes, we got to go over to L.A., downtown L.A. Looks like there's an unlivable apartment in downtown L.A. I don't know what all that's about. No, yep, try avoiding HOAs. Yep, that's a good point. That's a good point as well. But let's get over into this unlivable apartment in downtown LA and see what all this is talking about. And see, oh my God, let's get into it.
Some tenants in downtown Los Angeles are demanding a change. They say for years they lived in dangerous conditions. Good evening. Once again, everybody. I'm Michael Brownlee.
And I'm Annabelle Sedano. Colleen Williams is off tonight. Their landlord, however, says they're just trying to get lower rent. NBC4's Karma Dickerson went out and spoke with the tenants and landlord. It's all new tonight at 6. Karma.
Well, Annabelle, Michael, we were given the opportunity to speak with those tenants inside their homes. They invited us into their apartments to show us what they call unlivable conditions. We also had the opportunity to speak with the landlord, who says that she's actually willing to do repairs, but she blames the tenants for the fact that things haven't been fixed.
First thing Wednesday morning, City of Los Angeles housing inspectors came knocking at an apartment complex on South Wright Street.
You guys all have a good day. We were refused access. You heard it. So anyways, you have a good day.
They didn't get far. The person who turned away the inspectors is the building's owner and landlord, who said the city didn't give her 30 days notice. The people around the door are tenants who tell us they've been complaining about their living conditions for years, and they're demanding a change. Inviting us inside to show missing ceilings, limited light, what appears to be mold, holes in walls, plumbing issues. The building, which sits directly under the 10-110 interchange, has 43 units. It's unclear how many are occupied, but tenants say dozens of people are in the same boat.
Esto ha sido un infierno.
Tenant Adriana Montes has lived here over 2 years. She says it's been hell. This isn't life.
Hi, Arena. Hi. I'm Karma. This is Maria Paula. We're from NBC and Telemundo. We're doing a story about some conditions tenants have been complaining about.
The owner is Nella Petrusen, who also lives there.
I can't do repairs if they don't let me in.
Both the landlord and tenants accuse each other of violence and intimidation, and they deny the other's allegations.
They don't want repairs. What they want is discounted rent.
Petrusen says most people's rent is between $500 and $800 a month, though some may be required to pay less because of the condition of their apartments.
This building was built in 1929. As you can tell, the rents reflect the age. So it's an old building. I fixed everything, but you know, it's an old building.
The City of LA Housing Department website shows the city has received over 100 complaints about the condition of the property. Many marked as resolved, but others have led to legal action. The LA City Attorney's Office confirms the landlord Petrusen is accused of 43 counts of tenant harassment, 19 counts of building code violations, 3 counts of battery, 2 counts of unlawful demand for rent, relating to complaints from July of 2024 to June of 2025. She has another pending criminal case regarding 16 alleged building code violations from a May 2024 inspection.
We've been fighting for a couple years now to get the building taken from her control, and
for the conditions to change in the building.
David Albright is a member of the LA Tenants Association who has helped the tenants of this building organize.
And it's our position that no one should be allowed to own a building who treats their tenants like this.
The people who live here tell us they feel they must fight for this place.
1,500 más el entre.
Adding up the costs, moving, Montes says, is simply too expensive.
Yeah, they said they're paying, what, $500 and $800 a month between that? Yeah, no, that's crazy. You see that the state of some of those is unthinkable. There's no way I'm staying in there. Absolutely crazy.
And the landlord's actually due in court tomorrow to face some of those charges, and then due in court on October 30th to face charges on those alleged building code violations. Another thing I wanted to point out to you, you might have noticed a couple people in our video had a GoPro attached to their chest. At least 2 women told us they wear these cameras just to make sure they can record any interaction with the landlord or anything bad that they say that happens in the apartment, because they feel they need that for protection documentation. Reporting live, I'm Karma Dickerson, NBC4.
Wow, absolutely.
They need interaction with the landlord.
Crazy. So many complaints. They got mold, ceilings are falling down. Oh my God, absolutely crazy. So yeah, I couldn't live in those conditions. I definitely couldn't. She's like the landlord and the owner of the building saying, no, they just don't want me to fix them. They just want lower rents. No, come on. There's mold. I don't know anybody who wants to live in mold. There could be some people like that who say that, yeah, I'm fine with it. Just lower my rent. They could be like that, but I think the majority of people just want their stuff fixed. Come on now. They don't pay a crazy amount, but I still pay some money, my hard-earned money. There can't be mold in ceilings. Like, there's water damage everywhere. Ceilings are falling down. One light that works. These are simple things that can be fixed. Oh my God, absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. How would you feel? How would you feel being in this kind of situation? Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now she's doing court again. She's got plenty of charges. So 2 counts of battery. Who is she? Crazy. Just some people are only in it for the money. Some people are only in it for the money. I think she had a couple charges about just unreasonable rent demand, something like that. But some people are only in it for the money, which is understandable. But come on, you got to have at least some compassion. You can't just let people live in mold. Come on now, you don't care about their health at all. And she tried to make an excuse. It sounds like she loves making excuses. They just won't let me in the apartment. Come on now, if somebody's complaining about getting something fixed, who's not going to let you in the apartment? Let's be honest now. Use our common sense. There's no way they're not going to let you in the apartment. You saying you come to fix my mold? Yeah, open the door. Come on in. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. Now, the next thing we're going to pivot over into, looks like let's see. Looks like there's an underground crime ring. I don't know what this video is about, but let's get into it and see what it's talking about.
Only on Fox 11 tonight, shocking claims of a crime ring using a hidden maze of tunnels to stash stolen cars. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf, he's live in Montebello with an exclusive look inside this underground crime scene and why police fear it could get worse. Matthew.
Well, Marla, it sounds like something almost out of a movie. Thieves using tunnels to hide stolen cars and then take them apart. One man says it's happening all the time.
Out of sight and off the grid. A Fox 11 exclusive into the Whittier Narrows, a place one man claims stolen cars disappear. How frequently are stolen cars ending up right here?
I would say on average at least once a week.
He works along the dam and isn't showing his face out of fear of retaliation. But along the Rio Hondo is this tunnel he says is used like a garage by thieves trying to hide their loot.
They come into the channel and they hide because they know that whether the car has low jack or not, or some sort of GPS tracker on it, once it's underneath 3 feet of concrete or soil, the signal is lost.
Just 2 weeks ago, Skyfox was above this wild police chase in Pico Rivera, where a man in a stolen truck used the exact same tunnel to get away.
For me, seeing it, it was just another business day for them.
You were not surprised?
I was not surprised at all.
We then followed the whistleblower to another spot about 1.5 miles away.
Welcome to the Bermuda Triangle, where people who want to get lost, and things they bring here get lost.
He claims these are photos of stolen cars brought here from the tunnel and stripped for parts.
They are their own band of brothers, their own group, in which they work with each other to, they barter and trade in stolen goods.
A spokesperson from the LA County Sheriff's Department tells Fox 11 the area has been a spot used by the homeless for years, adding arrests related to narcotics and other crimes have been made, and stolen vehicles have also been recovered. Some people might think this is some sort of conspiracy theory, that this is not true.
I don't know what to say about that. For myself, I just see it as plain fact.
So he says he wants to see a cover put on that tunnel. Otherwise, he thinks this is going to keep on happening. Reporting live tonight, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So he says
they said that people just go through and somehow, well, not somehow, they found out about this tunnel. And they said, hey, you can have a GPS on your car all you want. It's not going to be able to get through what is it? Some concrete, 3 feet of concrete, they said? Or 3 feet of dirt and concrete? They're not going to be able to get to it. They was ready. And they said he's a whistleblower? Yeah, he was working with them. He's probably caught and then was like, yeah, I tell you everything. I try to use it. Oh, Jesus. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But you got to think thieves are getting more and more smart. Getting smarter every single day. They said, instead of just leaving it out, we're just going to hide in the tunnel for a little while. Then we'll bring it out the tunnel, strip it for parts, and then go about our day. Got to be careful, y'all. Got to be careful. Well, you can't really nothing to be careful about. If your car is stolen, I don't be one of the ones to chase after them. I wouldn't. I would just call insurance and then call the police. But wow. I wouldn't have thought of hiding the car underground. But people are smart. Criminals will find any way to keep doing their job. And their job is stealing from you, stealing from us, taking what you worked hard for. Luckily, we got somebody who's out here whistleblowing and telling where all the locations is. So hopefully it'll stop. I don't know if they can put it because that seems like there's water. It's probably something like a culvert running through. This is my engineering background talking to, but a culvert that lets the water run through it. So they probably can't cover it up because it depends on how much water they actually expect to flow through it. But absolutely crazy. Just that little short video that I wanted to talk about. Now, the last thing we're going to get into today, the last thing we're going to get into today is something that I saw that some people, it might a new term that they're called money bar. See, I'm typing stuff wrong. Monkey. Let's see, monkey. Monkey barring in relationships. So monkey barring, basically just they trying to put a new name on it, but they just jumping from relationship to relationship, jumping to relationship, pick and pull. That's crazy, absolutely crazy. But let's get over into this last video for today to finish it up our Saturday episode. So let's jump right into it and see what this dating trends that's ruining relationships. So monkey barring is the latest dating trend, and they say it's ruining relationships. But it's been like this for years. So I don't understand what else.
Or you or some of your friends jumping from one relationship to the next and calling it love. Maybe you're guilty.
I know, I dropped my card, you guys. It's down. It's staying down there.
We'll be fine. Well, some people, they're calling this new call phenomenon. It's called monkey barring, and it could actually be a hidden trauma response.
And I'm actually nervous. Maybe I had monkey barring. I'm married now, but I did jump in relationships quite fast. Joining us this morning is relationship expert and certified marriage and family counselor, Lug McPherson, and she's going to break down what monkey barring is and how healing can begin. So, monkey barring. So let's get into this. Did you make this up? Is this a word?
No, neither one of us have heard this before.
Actually, a thing, monkey barring, and it is basically jumping, just like when we were kids in the playground, going from you hold on to one bar and you reach to the next bar, and you don't let go of that person. So you are in a relationship, you're holding on to the other relationship, but your hand is reaching for somebody else, which is kind of betrayal in slow motion.
See, well, they putting on new names for it, but I think that's been going on forever. Where somebody's waiting for the next relationship to come by, already looking for their next relationship, not taking time to heal. They don't need to heal. Some of them don't even need to because they didn't really put their all or their heart into the relationship. Yeah, they just coming up with new names and just trying to tell the same old story. Let's keep.
Now, there's some people who, I guess, they just don't know how to be alone. So what is the hidden trauma behind that?
You know what? There are various traumas that can be behind it. One of the traumas is abandonment wounds. And now, first of all, I'd like to say that everybody with an abandonment wound won't use monkey barring as a solution. However, if they do use it as a solution, you can usually trace it back to a trauma wound. Okay? So with the abandonment, what happens is people who have unresolved abandonment issues, or wounds, what you will find is that they never feel like somebody will not leave them. I don't care how devoted you are. I don't care how good the relationship is. They can be married. They'll still feel anxiousness of somebody about to leave them. Therefore, when they see that somebody maybe have criticized them or they're in a relationship, it feels a little disconnected, or that's the sign to actually come closer. Instead of doing that, they will run and start grabbing hold of another relationship.
So you say abandonment wounds. Are you talking about like parental abandonment?
It can be parent wounds. It can be, it can even be death. Death is an abandonment. So the feeling of the pain of being alone, and what they fear is the loneliness.
Yeah.
And loneliness is actually as deadly as cigarette smoke. And so what happens is people who are feeling like they will once again experience the past pain of loneliness, and that pain of being by themselves and listening to themselves. And that's the biggest deal. What happens is you have to listen to your voice in that silence. And if you have a bad inner critic who tells you you're not enough, who talks to you badly, who tells, who makes you feel bad, what ends up happening is you don't want to listen to them. So you don't enjoy your own company. People might enjoy your company and you don't. So you'll try to fill the space with noise and relationships. And that's what happens.
I mean, I can see where somebody wants to jump from relationship to relationship. I don't understand why people don't like being alone, just from myself, because I grew up as an only child, so I found solace in being by myself. I found solace in, I can just sit there and watch some TV by myself. I ain't even got to talk to somebody. I guess some people can't handle that. Some people can't handle being alone and being by themselves with their own thoughts. Yes, absolutely right. She is right about loneliness. Yes, some people get too lonely and they think of committing one of the most worst acts they can, committing suicide. The main thing is people need to seek help when they need it. People need to go out, talk to somebody, seek help, talk to a therapist, do what you need to. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going into this.
So hypothetically, say Mayor Caitlin knows somebody who's guilty of doing this. How do we kind of broach that topic with them?
Well, I would encourage them to, first of all, say, do you need this relationship or do you want this relationship? What would it feel like for you to be alone and be single and stop and pause to see what happened at the last relationship? I would ask them different questions like that. But then I would also encourage them to start working on their health, their mental health. And if that might be some therapy, it might be all kinds of things. You know, it might be prayer for them. It might be therapy. It might be just really sitting down and self-reflecting. But it's very important that they stop and pause.
Do you think that monkey barring will cause people to have issues getting married? Like they don't want to have the commitment, they don't trust the commitment. And when they do get to that point of a serious relationship and maybe thinking about marriage, does their significant other have to constantly build them up for them to feel secure?
Absolutely. It happens all the time. And because it's not just abandonment wounds, it could be neglect wounds, it could be rejection wounds, and they respond differently to different types of wounds. It will affect your relationship because I have worked with couples who still feel like this person who has been with them for 20 years and has been faithful to them is still going to leave them. Oh. And really what the abandonment, the rejection, the neglect has not been from the partner, it has been from themselves. They don't love themselves enough to listen to themselves, to heal themselves, to spend time with themselves. So the solution is not in finding a partner or even the security of a marriage. It is in knowing you, loving you, healing you, and spending time with you.
I got one more quick question for you. What impact do you think, if any, that online dating is playing in this phenomenon?
Oh, yeah. Online dating, that is a really good question because online dating gives you this great big buffet, a buffet to swing from. You know, we could just keep going back and we could sit there we can come for breakfast and stay for lunch. You know, we could just continue to eat and test all of the different cycles. So I do believe that, and that's a whole different segment that you can call me back for because the plethora of options that it outlines, it may not be monkey barring, but you still have the persons who are indecisive because they think maybe that other dish tastes just a little bit better.
Don't like that.
No,
I'm glad I met my husband before the age of online and, you know, the social media.
42 years ago.
Goodness,
Thanks.
Absolutely. Wow. Absolutely wow, y'all. Yeah, she made some good points. She definitely made some good points. Main thing I feel is for you in order to move forward in a relationship, you need to have healed from your prior one, healed and digested of what went wrong. You can't just jump right into another one and expect that one to work when you haven't even dealt with the issues from your past relationship. That is one of the problems. People are so quick to jump into a new relationship that they haven't even dealt with the problems from the last one, haven't even reflected on the last one. Oh, yeah. She say she turned up. She replaced Dr. Hey, Dr. Phil be talking crazy sometimes. Absolutely crazy. But some people, like I said, being alone, if you can't handle being alone by yourself, you shouldn't just jump right into a relationship because you're alone. You need to talk to somebody about why you're feeling that way. Why can't you be alone? Spend more time with friends and family. There are several things that you can do to curb that loneliness. At least that's my feeling. Now, if I'm wrong, tell me. But you can't just jump from relationship to relationship, especially the part where they said that they're jumping from relationship to relationship because either they don't want to be alone or they feel like they can find something better. So there was a thing that they always used to say is that it's like, imagine there was a tower. I'm gonna paraphrase what I remember hearing about this. Imagine there's a tower and each floor has another level of the perfect man or woman. Some people, like, each level gets higher and higher with, oh, this is the most perfect. And once you get to the top, that's the very perfect. Some people will be fine with sticking at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, like levels 2 to 5. Be like, oh yeah, I found a person. I don't need to look for anything better. This is fine with me. But some people will just go up and rise and keep going to the next floor, looking for something better. And then when they get to the very top, you know who's up there? Nobody. Nobody's up there. You need to find the person who helps you and helps you grow forward. But you can't be so picky to where you end up losing everyone and you don't have anyone left. Now, if you, I feel like I'm saying that correctly, but if I'm saying it wrong, tell me. But that is my thinking. That is my thinking on that whole monkey barn. They're bringing a new name to it, but this has been around for the longest. People who do this have been around for the longest. They're just coming up with a new name for it. But at the end of the day, we just need to. Sometimes you just need to find help, and then fix yourself. Fix yourself before you move on. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely crazy. But that is the end of the show. Thank you for tuning in. For all the people out there who tuned in today, thank you. But let me know your thoughts on any of the things we talked about today. Please tell me. Do you disagree with anything I said? If you have a disagreement, please leave it in the comments. Hopefully everybody has a good weekend. It's around about to be 10:17 right now. Little shorter show on a Saturday. Okay, not too much shorter. Around an hour. See, that's an hour and 45 to 2 hours. That's what I like to do for the 3 shows that we do every week. But absolutely crazy, y'all. Please remember, this is AC Reviews the World, and I'm your host, AC the Engineer. Remember to hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification bell so your algorithm can be locked in, and every time I release something, y'all can see it. So y'all can see it, because all these videos will be broken down. And if you just want to go back and rewatch one of the videos, but everybody have a good day. Thank you, Latoya. Thank Leonard. All those. Jesse was in here. Yep. Thank y'all all for tuning in and, hey, sticking together. Because remember, at the end of the day, what we got to do, we got to review the world together. We just got to review the world together. But that is it for the show. You already know I got to play the outro. But thank y'all for tuning in, and that's it. Peace.